all this relationship stuff, and I find it quite tough to talk about. I'm from a failed marriage, and I was no day at the beach, but the chick I tied the knot with, dudes, she was pretty low. She was so low she could crawl under the carpet with a top hat on, and she was cold. She was so cold. I remember once she climbed into the fridge just to warm up, and she was aggressive too. I don't know if you know, she used to work on a whaling ship, but she didn't like to use the harpoon gun. She preferred to dive in and strangle them.
Sorry, Tommy, are you just making jokes?
Yes, aboard, and I believe that laughter is the best medicine.
Certainly laughter and positive thinking are all an important part of the recovery process.
Then how can we never use laughter in here?
Now, hold on. I seem to remember last week some of you found my Incredible Hulk socks rather amusing.
I saw them as a cry for help.
I think you're becoming a bit passive-aggressive, Tommy. Anger doesn't have to be expressed through shouting or physical violence. There are many ways. There's sarcasm, for example.
Oh, quelle surprise. I must try that sometime.
I have to say, I think you're being a bit sarcastic there.
That was the joke.
I think you're maybe a little bit angry.
I think you know that saying that might make me angry. But I'm not going to let it, because I think it's all about repeat work for you guys. Because if you said today that we were all cured, we could go home, then next week you'd be sat there on your Todd reading The Hungry Caterpillar, with no one to listen to you or see you do that thing with your eyebrows.
You can't help
it! Let me finish, thanks. I'm not getting angry. If I was, you'd know about it, because I'd go and get one of those Israeli bulldozers and drive it through this fucking library. But I'm not. I'm not angry. I am having a great time. I'm in really good mood. Alright, mate.
Anger can come from a lot of different sources. Sometimes it can be very deep-seated, with something we've carried with us for a very long time. Perhaps we were overweight as a child. We didn't get enough love from a parent. Perhaps we were smothered, perhaps we had too much love.
Like Tim with his Scoutmaster.
Yeah, there are other examples. We can talk about them maybe.
Don't look at me like that. You told us.
So, the man who gets out of his car and attacks another driver, for example, it may have been a very small thing that tipped him over the edge. Perhaps he slept through his alarm, missed breakfast.
Idi Amin, African dictator, killed loads of people. Nutter. Chopped his wife's head off and stuck it in the fridge. Go figure. Perhaps one morning, Mrs. Amin came into the bedroom and said, "You have been hitting that fucking snooze button for the last 40 minutes. Eddie, now your yolks have gone hard." Cue the old cranium and the cooler scenario. Yeah, maybe no one likes a nag, but...
My point is that we can't allow our anger to be like a volcano, erupting and harming those around us. But neither can we suppress it.
You can't just bottle it up.
Exactly, because then it becomes self-destructive.
It just like eats away at you, and some people, in fact, get cancer.
Yeah, that is one theory.
You just got to let it go. If the other bloke wants to hate you, let him.
Yeah.
Bit of luck, he'll get cancer.
What that tells us is, if someone's angry with you and you respond with anger, what you're doing is inflaming rather than diffusing the situation. If we look all around the world, we see negotiation is always better than conflict.
Not always possible though, is it, Alistair? Take the urban squirrel. I would like nothing better than to hammer out a negotiated settlement, to sit down at a round table with some senior squirrels and say, "Listen guys, help yourself to the pine kernels, but lay off the cherry tomatoes."
Clearly that's not possible.
Clearly that's not possible. And now you have the added phenomenon of squirrels who, whilst foraging, stumble across stashes of crack cocaine hidden in public parks by drug dealers, and they need only ingest a very small amount before they turn incredibly violent. The cuddly cheeky squirrel, very much a thing of the past. I have seen a squirrel go from that to that in seconds. It is frightening. They are very aggressive. They're all like Tupac Shakur or 50 pence piece or whatever he calls himself. They know no fear. I have seen a squirrel with my own eyes punch a pit bull terrier on the nose. And you can say what you like about anger management, but if it's between me and a crack squirrel, I would take that squirrel down. I would take that squirrel down to Chinatown.
Do you want to take a break?
Yes, please.
Yeah, well, it's like if you go nuts, it feels good at the time, but later it feels worse, and it's actually better to try and sort of work it out.
That's good. That's very good. That's very good. Anyone else? Tommy?
Well, anger is like flatulence, isn't it? Insofar as it's far better to let it out in increments than to let go with one humongous rattle.
Oh, well, yes, yeah. Inasmuch as losing your temper is about transferring that anger to those closest to you.
Well, you're farting in the face of the person you love, aren't you? If you ask the police, they will tell you that most murders are committed by a friend or relative of the victim. They take place at home, in the office, on public transport, in a lift, in a jacuzzi.
Are we still talking about murder?
I hold my hands up. The last three examples were specifically farting.
Right.
And I speak as both perpetrator and victim.
Well, joking apart, it's not just about controlling your anger. It's also about emotional honesty, taking responsibility for when you do have an outburst.
Totally. All the stuff we talk about in here is a waste of time if we can't apply it in the real world. Sorry.
No, do go on. It's good. Do go on.
Well, when I leave here and I make a mistake, which I will, because none of us are perfect,
Thank goodness.
that when I cross that line, and it's the people around me who'll suffer, that I at least have the moral conviction and honesty and courage, it takes courage, to stand up and say, I've dropped my guts. Right, I make that 11:01.
Okay, Simon, just relax. Let all the tension go out of your body, all the stress draining away. You're visualizing yourself as a tree. Good. What kind of tree are you, Simon?
Redwood. An oak tree.
Redwood.
Great big oak.
No, sycamore. No, an ash.
Giant redwood.
No, a redwood.
And that's the biggest tree in the forest, isn't it?
Yes, it's really high. Very high up. I can see for miles.
Can you see any people?
Yes.
Yeah, there's people walking on the
What
ground.
do they look like?
Ants.
They look like ants.
Sorry. Why is it always ants?
The people like you, don't they? They like the giant tree.
Yeah, they do. They're walking around me, and smiling.
How does that make you feel?
I feel really good. Yeah, really happy.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
In the peace and quiet of the forest,
Yeah,
making people happy.
yeah. Yes, it does. I think so. The people are making me angry. I just want to lift up my great big legs and stamp on them. Stamp on them. Keep stamping on them.
It's okay, Simon, it's okay.
Squash them.
Thank you for that. Why don't you just go take a moment, maybe get yourself a glass of water.
Make a cup of tea.
Well done. Tommy, I couldn't help noticing that you were a bit distracted during that. Do you not feel you're engaging with this exercise?
I'd like to posit the notion that some of these exercises may be a waste of time.
What makes you say that?
Hunch.
Another way of learning how to manage our anger is through role play. Tommy, you're a traffic warden, right? Because, God, we all get a bit angry when we get a blooming parking ticket, don't we? I'll play the motorist. And we're starting. What's this? You're giving me a ticket? I was only 1 minute over.
Yep, I'm a traffic warden. I'm on commission.
If you don't rip up that ticket right now, I'm going to get very cross.
Oh, don't get cross. I'm only doing my job. Can we stop this, please? I want this to work. I just don't think it's not ringing true for me. Can we just swap roles for a minute?
Yeah,
Just
well,
for 1 minute.
all right, just for a minute.
Okay. Why'd you give me that parking ticket?
You'd exceeded the allocated time on the meter.
Only a minute over, and you saw me running for the car.
Well, it's not that I don't sympathise with you, but if I bend the rules for one person, that wouldn't be fair.
You say you can't, but I know for a fact that it's within your remit to exercise some discretion when it comes to the application of fixed penalty notices. So you do have a choice. You can rip the ticket up, because it's within your remit, or I can knock your teeth so far down your throat that when you come to clean them in the morning, you'll have to stick a toothbrush up your arse. In fact, I'll give you such a fucking good hiding that you'll end up with a twitch.
But then you'll be arrested and...
Oh, I'll end up in court before the judge, and I'll say, I'm very sorry, but I didn't get a bike when I was a kiddie. And he'll understand. And they'll give me £100 fine and make me walk up and down the canal for a week, collecting litter with one of those spiky sticks. And when it's all over, months later, when I've completely forgotten about it, I'm sitting on a park bench doing my Sudoku with my cafe latte, and you'll come walking by, and I'll go, here comes Twitch. You see, that's more the sort of thing I think that'd be, realistic. Yeah. Can you just say honestly, this is really working for me, really feel I'm moving forward. Yeah. Should I have some tea and biscuits? I'll make it.